Hey everyone, this is Adrian Vrena speaking from Nons, and today I want to look at how is this even possible that an NFT can be a domain name. So recently I wanted to set up a domain name for, just like a website, decentralized website for myself. So uh, I wanted the website to be hosted on IPFS, so decentralized storage, and the domain to be on ENS. So the domain on blockchain with that ETH extension. But I started to wonder, how is that even possible that an NFT can be a domain name? Because we got used to NFTs as some graphics or some items that are kind of visible to us. I also actually thought that I'm gonna do a live for this, but it seems like when you want to do it for the first time, you have to wait for 24 hours, so it's not gonna be live. Anyways, I started to dig deeper to get to know how does that work. And first of all, I have come across this article by Victoria Wong. No, it's just a graphic. Anyways, by Cynthia Taylor. So it actually explains how the regular domains are working. So the domain name system, um, and it works the way that you instead of typing an IP address like this, you can just type address like that one. So the one that you can memorize, easier. Uh, and this is when you type it into your browser, it actually requests something from it's called the resolver, DNS resolver. So you request the resolver when you type tinykittens.com, you request the resolver to find what IP address is behind the tinykittens.com, and then it points you to that IP address so that you can, take the content out of it. Out of the server, and the content is just a website itself. We can actually even do it. So if we copy that and paste in here, it's actually gonna open Tiny Kittens. So this is how it's been working, let's say, since ages. So the domain name system was just a database with, let's say, the names, like human readable names in one column and IP addresses in the other column. And whenever you typed an address, it was matching the human readable address. It was matching the IP address of the server where the content was, and that's how it was working. Now I found some information that it was actually administered by the US government at first, but then it was handed over. Sorry for this being in Polish, but actually, when I switch to English, it doesn't show this, which is kind of interesting because you have different organizations, like you have ICANN, INA, whatever, that are managing the TLDs, so top level domains, something like .com or .gov. Then you have many different organizations that are managing different extensions. So we have the VeriSign Global that is managing .net, and you have the U.S. government that is managing .mil and .gov. Um, so what I'm trying to say here is that there is this kind of a middleman, even though these are the non-profit organizations. It's still a middleman that when you're registering your domain at .com, so example.com, you are actually asking them to register it, and they ask you for some data. It can be either just your email or even some more data depending on your region, depending on the extension. But basically you have to give them some data about yourself. And the other thing is that they can probably just withdraw your access, or take it away from you if you're gonna do something malicious or something illegal. and that's the downside of this. And I was just thinking, because here with ENS, it's an NFT, and I started to think, how does this work? And apparently, it's just using the blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain, exactly the same way as I told you here. So it is using the blockchain to connect the domain address. So in this example, in my example, it's going to be adrianrona.eth with something else. So it's connecting it actually with my wallet address, but you can also uh, and this is when you are gonna use it in some wallets like in MetaMask. So if you're gonna type this, so adrianrona.eth in a MetaMask, this is gonna point you to this specific address. You can set up more addresses, but you can also set it in a way that when you're gonna type it in browser. So before I set this content field, if I would put it into the browser's search bar, it would do nothing. But because remind me later. So, but if you're gonna set the content here, whenever you're gonna put it into the browser's search bar, it is gonna point you somewhere. And not all of, and this is important to remember, not all of the browsers are gonna support this, but there are some that are gonna support, like Brave browser, for example. But if you're gonna put the domain name, so this, into your browser search bar, it is gonna point you to whatever you're gonna put in here. So here you can put something, if you have your website files on some centralized server, or maybe you can even have it on your computer, you can set it to point, whoever is gonna type the address uh, to get the files from your computer. You can put anywhere here, anything here, but I tried to do it from the IPFS, and now I start to understand that the NFT that you're having with the domain name is just the record on the blockchain in the database that this specific wallet holder, or this, so this is my wallet address, or this specific public address is the owner of this particular domain. So the only way I can do something with that is by connecting my wallet here. So it all happens through the smart contracts on Ethereum network, meaning that there is no middleman, because you're just connecting your wallet, and by setting up this domain, you're just um, deploying or calling actually no, you're just calling smart contract that is producing this NFT for you and making you the only owner of it. And I I don't specifically know how the records work, but I guess these are held somewhere else. Um, I mean, somewhere else on the same blockchain, because whenever I want to add or change the record, I need to confirm the transaction and pay the gas fee. So it seems like it also is held somehow on the blockchain, but it's not changing anyhow the NFT, but it's just adding additional record on the blockchain, um, where where to point whenever someone is, putting the address name in there. Yeah, so I kind of find it really interesting. Uh, the other thing, yeah, well, the other thing about the stuff I am hosting, there are services like Piñata, and I think there is one more or even two more services like this that are helping you host the files on the IPFS network, because you can also do it on your own computer. Uh, However, you would have, to have your computer always turned on, so that everyone and anyone, so if anyone would like to access the files, your node, your IPFS node would have to be running on your computer, but you can use services like this. They allow you up to 1 GB, I think, of data to be pinned on IPFS servers, and you just take the CID, so this kind of hash number, and then you put it in here so that it points into that. Well, apparently, let me just, I think it's, yeah, so it's loading very fast right now, although when I was doing it for the first time, yeah, you can see it didn't load something here. It actually works kind of slow. I think it's just something cached in my memory, and that's why it loaded so fast, but probably if I would do it on some other computer, it would take much more time. Uh, the other thing I wanted to mention is that even if you don't have a specific browser like MetaMask browser or Brave browser that is gonna enable you to natively go to, you see, it's just that there's no HTTPS, there's no nothing. It just takes the domain name and asks the IPFS to bring up whatever you see in here. But if you're gonna do the same with a regular browser like Chrome, it's just gonna do nothing. So in order to do something, you'd have to go with that link at the end, and then it loads it. And here's something more. So it's ETH DNS and ETH link. Well, yeah, you could also do that limo, and it's gonna do the same, as you can see. So this is actually, my understanding of this is that it's actually mirroring the content from whatever you have posted into the IPFS. So whenever you type an address like this, like adrianrona.eth.limo, it's actually looking for content that is assigned or pointed to by agentRuna.eth. So it's looking for the content that is pinned to the IPFS here on Pinata, and it's bringing up to you. I think it's the Cloudflare service that is doing this right now, although they're not mentioning here. But sometimes when the decentralized website is loading, it shows you the Cloudflare logo. Anyways, I just thought it was just interesting thing to know, and I just realized that the regular DNS was actually just a database, and that's how it can really work with blockchain as well, because when you think of blockchain, it's actually also a database, but it's just decentralized and distributed, so a lot of people can have a copy of the same database. So today it just started to make sense for me, and that's why I wanted to record this video. I actually wanted to do a live, but yeah. Anyways, thanks, and speak to you later. Bye bye.